Now, in-car entertainment has changed a lot over the years, but the thing at the moment, the thing that everyone's interested in is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now, because I have an iPhone, the iPhone 16 Pro Max, of course I use Apple CarPlay, and with my car being a 2025 electric car, it does come with Apple CarPlay, but not everyone is that lucky. Now, of course, if you have an older car, then Apple CarPlay might not have even been an option for you. And sort of the first cars that sort of came out around the time Apple CarPlay and Android Auto was introduced, at first it was an optional extra. Now, of course, the car that we're going to be fitting the Carpodgo in doesn't have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It is a newer car, but unfortunately not new enough for it to be standard. It was an optional extra, and not many people took out that sort of option because really it's a track focused car. So I guess that's not really the concern, because this isn't a daily car that you would drive to the shops, etc. So basically how these things work is you just attach them to the windscreen with a suction cup. That's the easiest way, and then you can just connect it to the cigarette lighter, the 12 volts, etc. And then of course all you need to do is connect it to the car's audio system. If you want to use that, you can use the built-in speakers like I said, and you can do this one of three ways. You can use AUX, Bluetooth, which obviously Bluetooth is the better way of doing things, or you can use the FM transmitter. Now in this video, thankfully, the car did have Bluetooth, so that's how we connected it. So there was only one wire connecting this system up, and of course that is for power. Now before we go ahead and get this installed in the McLaren, what the best thing to do is do an unboxing and then look at everything you get, and we'll have a quick look at the settings and the setup, because that's going to be a lot easier outside of the car than it is inside the car. Then we'll go ahead and fit it to the car, show you what it looks like on the dashboard. It's super easy to install it. We're not going to be looking at the reversing camera because that's a lot more involved, and I didn't fancy taking out panels and cutting wires because these cars are not cheap. So enough waffling on, let's move over to the top down camera and see what we get. So as we take a look at the box, we can see that it says 60 FPS front and center, because that's a big deal when it comes to screens and screen technology. CarPlay, and then there's nothing really else on the box. Now I did get all the accessories in the box, but unfortunately you know how it is, when you take them out you just can't get them back in. So here is the actual suction mount, and it's got all the adjustments that you could ever need. It is made of plastic, but it's really strong and sturdy. Again, we couldn't get the screen back in the box, but here is the screen here. We can see it's got a ball mount on the back, and then we've got all the I/O ports on the right hand side. So we've got two USB-C ports, one's for power and one can be used for memory sticks, etc. We have the reversing camera connection, and we also have that AUX if you're going to wire it via your stereo with AUX. And there's nothing really else to note apart from, like I said, the ball joint on the back to connect it. It does have a magnet as well, so that comes off. And the screen itself, it is quite glossy. I think I'd rather have had a matte screen, but you could just get a matte screen protector on here, so you don't have as much glare basically. So if we open the box, that is where all the rest of the accessories are. We have instructions, which of course you know I never read them. We have these sticky pads, and what you can do is you can stick these onto the dashboard in case you don't want it on the screen, you want it somewhere else. You'd use the 3M tape, stick it on there. We have some more 3M tape, and then we have another bracket which is kind of rubbery, so this can go on like a curved surface. So they basically give you every way of attaching this in your vehicle. Here is the reversing camera itself. As you can see, it's got a really long cable, and then that red wire is the one that you would sort of tap in to the 12 volts for the reversing lights. We're not actually going to be fitting this or looking at this today. Next we have the main power cable for it, and it's really cool that it's got a USB port on it as well, so if you do use your cigarette lighter to USB charge your phone or something, then you're still going to have access to that, so that's a nice touch. Here we have some sort of filters. Didn't really look too much into these extra accessories. I think it's something to do with filtering. Then again we have another sort of rubber bendy mount, and then it's got the bar in there as well, so there's so many different ways you can connect this into your car. Then we have USB-C OTG to normal USB, so this is where you could then plug in memory sticks, storage, etc, etc. Then we have the AUX adapter, so you can plug this into the AUX port, and then the USB will then go into that OTG, so you can use USB to AUX. So there's lots of ways you can connect it to your car stereo, and that is it. That is everything that you get in the box. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put the mount on the desk itself just to hold it in place, and these ball joints, they just clip, sort of push fit, and then you can tighten it up. So we're just going to sort of raise it off the desk, it'll be easier for us to see. So we have powered the device on, but we haven't gone and changed anything or connected it to phone, etc. So we're just tightening all those brackets up just so it's nice and secure, and there we go. So just trying to adjust it now so the glare from the light, because it is a really glossy screen. So this is the main menu screen itself. We can see the time, we can see the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto logos, Bluetooth, brightness, etc, etc, all across the bottom. So this is where we can go in and we can change the settings, get it all set up and configured, and we'll go through a couple of these now. So if we go to the main settings, we can see sort of the system, the date and time. We've got logos, and this is really cool because when the device turns on, you can change the logo that first flashes up. So they've got all the logos in here from all the manufacturers, even some that I've never heard of. So the chances are your car is definitely going to be on here, especially if you're in the UK or America. They're going to have the main ones on here. So of course we're going to choose McLaren, and then we're going to hit set logo. So now when you turn the device on, it should come up with the McLaren logo, and this is just really fitting because the friend of mine that's borrowed me his car, we're actually going to leave this in there for him because he was really impressed with the screen. So we wanted to just leave it in there for him so he could get the use out of it. And as you can see, when you turn it on, it says McLaren before it goes to the main screen, and that's when it will start connecting to your phone if you have a phone connected, and it's really quick at connecting to the phone as well. We'll look at that just in a moment. So here's my iPhone 16 Pro Max. Let's get it connected, and it's easy enough to do. We're going to do it through Bluetooth. I'm actually going to set the audio output to the speakers because it does have speakers built in. Now the power supply that I'm using here is not quite powerful enough, so I'm just using a normal USB cable. It is recommended that you use the cigarette lighter and the cable that comes with it because it supplies enough power. So that's just why that it went off then. I did have a few problems with it going off all the time, and then as soon as I got it in the car and used the proper cable, of course it never went off. So we're having a look through the Bluetooth devices, and we're just going to connect it via Bluetooth as you do. And this is a super simple setup. It's something that you have to do once. Once you've done it once, it will then remember and it will keep connecting when you get in and out of the car. So as you can see, we've found the device, we're connecting it with Bluetooth, it will give you a code, etc, hit pair, and there we go. Look, it's connected to my iPhone. It will say, do you want to use Apple CarPlay with this device? Of course we want to. So we're going to click basically OK on that. then we should be able to go back to the main screen, and as you can see, it's all connected to the screen itself. We can see the album's art's there, we can see the map. I did turn location zoomed out, so didn't give away where I live. And then you can scroll through everything. At this point, it is pretty much an Apple CarPlay device, just like you would see in your car. Nice and smooth, easy to navigate the menus. So there's not really, this isn't really an Apple CarPlay sort of review. We're not reviewing Apple CarPlay, we're just having a look at how this screen and how well this screen works with it. No problems whatsoever. It's actually working really well. Just like I said, it would work on a car that has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto built in. So as you can see, you get everything you need in the box. We did get a reversing camera, but you do need to cut wires. So I'm not going to go through the installation of the reversing camera because McLarens are not exactly cheap cars and we don't want to be messing with anything. The whole point of these screens is you can move it from car to car, it will suction cup to the windscreen, happy days. Now the quality of this screen is really nice, and of course having that 60 Hz refresh rate or 60 FPS, it just looks really nice. The software itself, the transition of going between screens and swiping, it's nice and smooth, and I haven't noticed any difference between this screen and what's built into my car. I've got the Skoda Enyaq Sportline Plus. It's full electric, four-wheel drive, etc., and it's got a massive screen in it. Of course, it's got wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay built in, so there was no point in showing you installing it in that vehicle. But of course, we're going to be installing it in a car that's very special, the McLaren 570S. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put the suction cup onto the windscreen itself. Now this car is really cramped. It's a nightmare to get in and out of. There's a special way to get in and out because of those doors that go up instead of open normally, and the bucket seats, and it is a really cramped car, so trying to find a really good angle for the camera, the best way to do it was to have the tripod outside of the car itself. So we're just going to suction cup this to the windscreen, and it does stick very, very well, so bonus points for that. I have had suction cups before and they just end up falling off. So we've got the suction cup on there, and next we're gonna basically put on the screen itself through that ball joint, and then just basically there's a little nut that you can tighten up. I know you can't really see too much here, but as I said, the camera angle, it's just not the best for filming in such a small cramped car. But we're going to get that basically put on there, get everything tightened up. Now the screen is quite a bit above the dash, and these cars are quite firm on the suspension, and obviously they're very fast, so in the end I did settle for having the screen sort of pressed against those air vents. It just seemed the best sort of position to put them in. Now we need to plug the power in. You can see me here looking for that cigarette lighter because unfortunately it wasn't in the normal position where you would have it, which is at the bottom of the dash. So I did find the power cable and the cigarette lighter in the end. It was in the center console right at the back, which again was really hard to film. So I did actually end up moving the camera. You can see the armrest to the left of the shot there that I've pulled up to get that plugged in. Now I dare say once you've used this a couple of times, you'll know exactly how to put it in, and it will take you less than 30 seconds. So it was time to plug the power cable into the screen itself, so I just had to detach the screen, but you'll notice that the magnet is actually at play here, so that's nice and easy to just detach the magnet and then we can get the screen in position and just tuck that wire and tidy it away. Now here you can see where the cigarette lighter is. It's got some USB ports, but it is in between the seats and the button there. So we've got the car all powered up. As you can see, the screen's on, and the positioning of it for the driver position is fantastic. As we turn the screen on, it will say McLaren, just like it says in the dash, and in the normal infotainment system that's built into the car says. And then we can see it's all connected to my phone. It's all working, so it was time to go for a drive. We did use all the sat nav, but we didn't want to give away any locations. Just some shots here of us driving around, listening to music, and the screen is nice and bright. Now, of course, that was super simple. Suction cup to the windscreen and then plug it into the cigarette lighter. And that's pretty much it. Obviously, if you were to use AUX, that would be another wire. And of course, if you plugged in that reversing camera, that would be, again, another wire that you'd have to route all the way through to the back. And then it needs a positive 12 volt supply from your reversing lights. So when you activate reverse, it would then activate the camera. But we weren't going to be doing any of that to the McLaren because that car is 100% original. It's immaculate condition, and there's no way that we're going to be messing about fitting reversing cameras. So if you did want to add the reversing camera, it is super easy. There's instructions, and it's just a case of tapping in to the positive 12 volt that goes to your reversing lights. Now, of course, the reversing camera is a nice touch, but the star of the show, of course, is that screen itself, and the functionality of adding Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to your vehicle wirelessly is a must-have. Now, I know in this video we just tested the Apple CarPlay, but I do have a Google Pixel 9 Pro and I did test that on it, and it works just the same. So it doesn't matter if you're an Android user or an iPhone user, these screens are fantastic, and I'm going to put a link in the description below where you'll be able to pick one up with a little bit of a discount. And of course, I will get a kickback, so if you do buy one of these screens, you're going to be supporting the channel. So just before we end the video, I want to give a massive shout out to Carpodgo for sending across this Apple CarPlay screen, etc. And a massive shout out to my friend John for letting me borrow his McLaren to record the installation for this video. So if you did find this video helpful, you know what to do by now. Like, subscribe, and then don't forget to hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. I'm JP, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.